Unsyndicated presents Shep and Sean, featuring Matt Shepard and Sean Belegian.
So here's the thing. Hi, Shep. How are you? I hope you had
How was your weekend?
Really good, actually. Had a great. I went to the ball game Friday night with a couple of old friends.
Good.
A guy that I know you're familiar with from the IHL days, Mark Beaufait. So we had a chance to go down to the ballpark, and
Orlando Solar Bears.
we probably have not seen a game together like we were talking about it probably since 91, 92. Like literally that long. You know, life happens. He went all over the place with hockey, and I did absolutely nothing with my life for 30 plus years. So yeah, you know how that goes. But yeah, dude, I'm telling you, Shep, I don't know how often you get a chance to just go down at a game and have a couple beers and everything. There's just something therapeutic about it, man. There really is. It's just a good time.
Yeah, it's so cool to see people so happy, smiling around the streets of Detroit, and seeing that there's that common bond. You know what I mean? I said that earlier today about college football, and I was thinking about you this weekend because I know you were watching all the games on Saturday, and that's how I feel about this week and the anticipation. It's almost like the lead up to Christmas, and the fact that there's going to be so many people on so many different campuses, but for our sake of argument, Michigan State, Michigan, and just making new friends, right? Being welcoming, having people over to their tailgate who they didn't know when they first parked, and set up their tent and set up their grills and set up their televisions. And there's a different feel on what sports can do for people and bringing people together. And I think you're seeing it in downtown Detroit, and I think you're going to see it on the campuses this weekend and hopefully all fall.
It is fantastic. And Shep, to be honest with you, to have the kind of weather that we did on Saturday, and I know it might be the quote unquote false fall that we're also familiar with, but to have that kind of weather where you can just open up all the windows and watch K-State and Iowa State, that was tremendous. Are you kidding me? That's what it's all about as far as I'm concerned. Just, having those moments of chill. And as you said, going up to Michigan State and tailgating with my daughter before taking her into a game. You can't put a price tag on things like that.
I can't wait for this weekend because, I've had my daughter, she bought season tickets, and I'm so excited for her. I'm just excited that they're going to get a chance to go to at least as a student, her last opening day, and spend it with their friends and enjoy the football game for as long as they're going to do it. But really, it's all about the festivities leading up to it. You know what I mean? I'm just hoping there are parties everywhere for people. They're enjoying themselves responsibly. They're wearing their Spartan gear or Wolverines gear with pride, and it just continues all fall long. And I hope the student athletes feel it too. You get the sense that, I get the pros, it's motivated them. And I think a lot of the pros will tell you that, the fans are a big deal, but I think it's even bigger when you get those college athletes running out of that stadium tunnel for the first time ever, and the kids showing their pride everywhere they go and all week long. So I'm really pumped up for it. So you enjoyed the football games this weekend, right?
Yeah. Oh, totally. Shep, honest to God, I'm not even being funny. This is a scenario. I know what's wrong with college football. Don't mince words. I know there are major problems. Right. I know there are major problems. I know it'll never be the same. There is that part of me that's disgusted, but I'm going to tell you what, there's just something so right sitting at home and waiting for that noon game or as you stated, being on campus. And I don't care if I'm in East Lansing. I don't care if I'm in Midtown Detroit. I don't care if I'm in Allendale. There's just something unique about being on campus on a Saturday morning. I've never been able to put my finger on it. It just is.
Yeah, it's a feeling, right? I mean, you smell the grass for some reason. You get there's a sense, there's a feel about it. My problem, Sean, is, without being too nitpicky, and I've said this all day, Michigan State playing on a Friday night, not a huge fan of it. Michigan playing on a Saturday night, not a huge fan of it. I like Saturday afternoon football games. I know why they're played on Friday night. as a MAC guy, I know why they're played on Tuesday and Wednesday, and I get the Friday night feel as well. But there's something special, I think, that college football used to own on Saturday afternoons more than anything else. And to me, that was special. Friday night for me has always been for high schoolers. Sundays have been for the pros. Saturdays, I always believed it belonged to college football. I wish I'd get back to that, but I also understand what's happening and why it doesn't.
No, and Shep, I got to be honest. I like the one Friday night for Michigan State, like the season opener, the home opener. I like that Friday night. I'm not gonna lie, it was special for me back in the day. I mean, I took Jack up there, gosh, probably 8 Fridays in a row or something like that. I'm with you now. With one of the hats that I wear, I can't make it up there on Friday night. But other than that, you're right. It's Saturday, man. That's except this weekend. I'll say again, I don't know why they don't own like all day Sunday. There's no NFL on Sunday. Why don't you put 3 or 4 games on Labor Day Sunday? It don't make sense to me.
Maybe it's because it would be a short week. For some reason, they don't have that problem later on in this college schedule. But I agree with you. Take advantage of an open Sunday, go get after it, and let schools celebrate a big weekend. And if you're going to say, well, the student body will be in school on Monday, then what are you doing with Friday nights? I mean, Friday, those kids are supposedly in school all day long. They're at classes. Saturday, they're going to get up, probably hungover a little bit, but they would anyway. Usually Friday night is for the bar nights and for the parties and the gear up for Saturday afternoons. And then Sunday, there's that special feeling of everybody leaving work and headed to East Lansing or Ann Arbor and playing and setting up their tailgate and having people over and just enjoying everybody's company. For me, it's about Saturday afternoon. And if you want it to be 3 o'clock, you want it to be 4 o'clock, that's cool. I love the noon games, but I can accept it, I suppose, for the opening weekend. I'd just much rather have it Saturday afternoon.
No, I'm with you. Kool-Aid football is back Sunday afternoon and Monday afternoon this week should be covered in games. I've said it forever. I don't know why they don't do it. It makes no sense to me.
Oh, that's such a smart astute. That really is. I truly thought of it that much. It's an astute observation. If you're in charge of NCAA, you're a bunch of idiots, but that should be a mandate almost. Like if you like the tradition of a Friday night game for Michigan State, that's fine. Why Michigan's got to play New Mexico on Saturday night is beyond me, but we know it's television. And if it's television, take advantage of the Sunday. Go in there and get it done, man. Have the big game. What don't you think it would be better if Ohio State and Texas played on Sunday afternoon? Wouldn't that be really cool?
Yep.
Even if it's not noon, let's just say it's 1 o'clock, like an NFL kickoff. Let's say it's the 4 o'clock. You could build it as a big doubleheader, similar to what you have in the National Football League every Sunday. I think they've missed the boat. You're dead on there.
Shep, whatever we're going to do, I never thought that I'd have to say these words. And now what I thought would be a 12-5 season, I'm looking at 9-8 at best. Dan Skipper is gone. And I don't know how I'm going to ever recover from it.
What's the bigger issue? Dan Skipper, who caught a touchdown pass, is gone, or that Brad Holmes has lost a 2nd-round pick in Broderick Martin and a 3rd-round pick in Hendon Hooker. And, obviously you've had other picks that are, Rakestraw's out for the year. Onzuworke's out for the year. There's 2 2nd-rounders. Aleem McNeil is going to miss part of the season. You've got other players who are going to be missing. Josh Paschal, who was a 3rd-round pick, Sean, or was he a 2nd round? I think he's a 3rd-rounder.
3rd round, I think.
He's going to miss at least half the season. I mean, look, you and I both believe in Brad Holmes. We think he's done a phenomenal job for this football team, but suddenly there are some miss picks starting to pile up a little bit, right?
I had to double check Paschal, 2nd round.
2nd round, okay.
46th overall. Yep. 46 is overall.
I thought it was a good pick out of Kentucky. I really did.
So did I.
And he has not performed and hasn't been healthy enough. Onzuworke will now miss 2 out of the last 3 years with injuries. And as we brought up, Martin has been woefully underdeveloped, and same with Hooker. Now, we got to remember, Hooker was drafted, he was 25 because he's 27, almost 28 now. To me, I shrug my shoulders at it, Sean. I don't think it's a massive deal, but it does hurt what you had hoped would be, if not depth, starting positions.
Yep.
You draft first round, second round, third round to be starters outside of quarterbacks. Quarterbacks take time to develop, as we all know. If that's the case, you're missing guys who are supposed to be difference makers for your football team, period.
Yep.
Supposed to be difference makers.
Yep. Shep,
let me ask you, when you're done with your thought, I do have a question for you regarding the Lions and the edge rusher. Go ahead.
All right, Shep, I didn't mind the pick at all when it happened. And I openly admit, I think you and I are cut from this. If I miss on something, I want to be the first guy to tell you. You don't need to remind me. I want to be I did not think that Jared Goff was going to get it back. I openly admit.
Cut ties as soon as you can, right?
Honestly, I was one of those guys. And I thought to myself, all right, well, here's a guy that legitimately was a Heisman leader when he went out. And I know that a lot of people said product of the system, shotgun guy, hypo offense, et cetera, et cetera. I didn't mind doing that in the third round. And I'm not going to crucify the guy for a few misses. I think there's this mentality that some of the greats, whether it be, I just watched the documentary on the early 90s Cowboys. It was really well done. I was shocked. I don't know if you saw it. Everybody, Jimmy Johnson hit on everywhere. No, he didn't. Bill Belichick hit on every. No, he didn't. Not even close.
Right.
The key is to do a lot and quite frankly, to admit when you made a mistake and move in a different direction. I think that's a huge integral part of it. So I'm not going to hang Brad. Brad's obviously built a lineup and a roster that if he can keep it together, this should be a competing team at a high level for many, many years. But going in regards to what you said, let's not pretend that he's not without his faults. They're starting to build up a little bit, and both things can be true. I can be very happy that he's the general manager of the Detroit Lions and also say, well, I don't think he's as perfect as some make him out to be.
Yeah, and I don't think neither you nor I have made him out to be perfect. It is two big swings and misses because I believe Hooker and Martin were in the same draft in the same round. And I believe both were 2023.
23. Yep. 23. Yep.
So that's two big swings and misses in the same round, and that hurts. Long-term problems, that hurts. How do you make up for it now? What are you going to do to make sure you get that this doesn't hurt as bad as we think it could hurt? And that's where you got to trust them. What I wanted to ask you is, we hear so much about let's bring in Zadarius Smith.
Mm-hmm.
You've talked about it, I know, on your morning show on Woodward Sports. When would we see Zadarius Smith? I would ask you this question. What about Jadeveon Clowney? Like, if Zadarius Smith isn't ready to come in and be part of this team, everybody's like, well, he's got to be part of this team, Shep. I mean, he fit in so well last year and he really wants to be part of a winner and all that other stuff. Well, if he does, then why isn't he here? Number one. If he's that good, why isn't somebody else tried to sign him? And number three would be, he's 32 years old. So is Jadeveon Clowney. Clowney had 5.5 sacks last year. Wasn't as productive as Zadarius Smith, but he did it in Carolina. 2 years ago in Baltimore, he had 9.5 sacks. And he played, I think, 64% of the snaps. You sign that guy to a decent deal. Let's just say, for sake of argument, $2.5 million. You sign him to a deal like that, where you're going to play 15 to 20 snaps a game and he can get after it. What would be the problem there? We just haven't heard that name associated with the Lions at all.
I love to hear you say that. And this goes to show you how things have changed around here, because in years gone by, you know what I would say to you, Shep? Now, I know you wouldn't say this, but you would, you might get a caller or something. And I don't mean to be disrespectful, but I would always shoot back with, okay, I want to ask you a question. Why on earth would he want to come here right now? Why would he want to come here? How often do we hear, Shep, guys of that magnitude at that age, you know what? They just want to go someplace and have a chance to win. At this point in time in their career, they want to go and have a chance to win. The Detroit Lions afford that. In years gone by, that wasn't the case. Somebody would go at the height of the Jim Caldwell era, for example. Oh, man, wouldn't it be great? And my response would always, why on earth would he want to come here? I'm not trying to be a dick. But pardon my language, but why would he want to come here?
It's a different scenario now, though, because it's a destination point where it wasn't before. Now players want to come here because of how this organization is run and the chance to win. So you're 100% right there. But I think there's a lot of guys. Like, why would he want to go to Carolina last year at age 31? I think there's a lot of guys who look at the situation and say, you know what? If I can help one of the best pass rushers on the other end, and I give myself a chance to win a ring, make a little money, playing 15 to 20 snaps, playing in front of an energized crowd in a really good sports town, I think it's worth at least looking at. So
Yep.
I'm wondering why we've always been hung up, and I'm guilty too, hung up on Zadarius Smith because of his link to Detroit from a year ago, which is just half a season. And we haven't looked further into somebody else who might fit the bill. I don't know, Clowney, like, we think we know Zadarius Smith. Maybe he's not a great guy. Maybe he doesn't fit in with the culture. Maybe he's a selfish player. But we haven't heard his name linked to Detroit or any other team, I might add, at all. I wonder why that is.
It's his girlfriend and the fact that he's been around town. Isn't that kind of that? At least that's been the common perception, I think, for a while, Shep.
His girlfriend, and he's been around town.
Yeah, he's been around Detroit.
Zadarius Smith, you're saying?
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if he hasn't signed by now, it's like, okay, come on, let's move. Let's get it going, man. Get somebody in here who's going to help this team.
I'm still, if I were a betting man, Shep, and I'm really truly not. I bet you he signs before the season starts. I really think so. You know how veterans are.
Braylon has told me that you probably need about 10 days to get ready.
Uh-huh.
Okay. 7 to 10 days or so.
I think that's
7
fair.
might be light.
I think that's fair.
Okay. Then he better sign pretty quick.
You know as well as I do, a lot of these guys, they don't want to go through camp and they don't want to go through fake football.
That's fine.
If I were a betting man, I bet you it happens by Friday.
Yeah. Well, last time I checked, fake football's gone. Okay?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So next week, if it's by Friday, that means next week. That means you come in on Friday. Okay, Saturday, you get things going again. You're going to practice on Monday. You got Tuesday off, mandatory. You got Wednesday, you got Thursday, you got Friday. Now, it might be slightly different defense because of a different DC. Knows the players. I don't care. It's whether or not you're going to be in shape enough to contribute and contribute right away.
Yep. I get it. I totally get it. By the way, David says major problems for college football, but it still has its touch. Shep, you can yell at me all you want for this, okay?
Mm-hmm.
For all the things that ESPN does wrong, I love College Game Day. I really do. I love, I don't know where Shep went. Seriously, Shep, like I am so giddy to watch that dumb show. And I openly admit,
they do a good job, though, Sean.
Yeah. A lot of it has to do with, I was a kid when I started watching that show, and now it's habitual. But honest to God, I can't wait to watch that show. And to me, that's part of that college football Saturday morning experience. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I love it. I think, with all due respect to Lee Corso, and they've handled it very, very well, but it's time to move on there. I think they've got some really insightful guys. I think Kirk Herbstreit's unbelievable at that desk. Desmond Howard's grown on me a little bit. Nick Saban, I think, is fantastic. Pat McAfee, you can keep. I like. What's that? Yeah. Sorry if that offends anybody.
Listen, you can keep him. I want him off the damn show, but that's just me. But go ahead.
Yeah, I thought David Pollack used to do a really good job.
Loved him.
And I didn't understand that move. So I think their knowledge of all the games is really impressive. The atmosphere is phenomenal. It's a show that should be used as an example of creativity and how good TV can still be produced by a network that overproduces and uses too much of its talent for its what used to be its flagship show, SportsCenter, which is now an absolute joke.
I haven't watched it in years. I
only watch it in the morning, Sean, because I have to get ready for my show, and I'll look at the ticker and pick up a nugget here or there. Quite honestly, it's embarrassing.
Yeah,
it's awful, just awful. I don't know who they're trying to appeal to, but it's just so bad. It's
Let me try to get a couple of these reads out. Our buddy Tom in London said, good evening. Weather is all set up for football. Ron, can't wait for college football. Let me tell you about Legacy. Did you know Thousands of Metro Detroiters have already called Legacy Partners to get help with their home and auto insurance. Our friends at Legacy are one of Southeast Michigan's top independent insurance agents and provide a full-service one-stop solution for all of your insurance needs, personal and business, large and small. The Legacy difference is they ask the questions that other people don't ask, and they follow up with you. Like literally, Alex called us last month and said, hey, there are some changes coming. You guys might be aware of them. Boom, we avoided some big costs. What are you waiting for? Give Legacy a chance to help with your home, your cars, life insurance, Medicare enrollment, or your business insurance needs. Call them today at 586-209-4106 or visit legacypartnersins.com to get started with your new quotes. Look at all these people. And now you brought it up, and see, you open up that can of worm and look at the people chiming in, Shep.
David, rappers are anchors on ESPN now. It's terrible. What a great line that is.
Pollock was great. They just want entertainment guys now, as in McAfee, David nail head.
Yeah, but that happens. I'm not defending them. Okay. It happens all the time. It happens in broadcasts all over this country. Okay. Where people want to be quote unquote entertained. I get it. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying, let's not blame the 4-letter network and then gravitate toward some people who are there just to, be entertainers and jokesters and all that other stuff that, people seem to fall in love with too.
You know what it is though, Shep? I think there's a pushback now. I really do. I think before it was guys like you and I that were just like, come on. I think people are kind of getting sick of it and the pendulum swinging the other way. I really do. I
have not noticed that.
Sports can't.
Come on, millions of dollars for Pat McAfee, millions of dollars for Colin Cowherd, millions of dollars for Stephen A. Smith. How is that pushback? There's no pushback for that.
I'm talking about from fans, not from entities. Entities are about 5 years behind anyway. Let's be honest.
Dude, come on. I mean, the entities aren't doing that unless the fans are on board with it.
I'm not sure about that.
Look at the numbers Pat McAfee draws.
You know what? I think a lot of times they're kind of behind the trends. I don't know, just one man's opinion. Okay. And it's funny, I see more of the chirping like we have in the chat right now about things like that. That what's wrong with a guy that played college football, that knows the game inside out and speaks in an articulate way about what you're seeing on the field? Like that's a bad thing? You know what I mean? Like, who I love? And Shep, I'm not just saying this, your longtime partner, Rubes. Like, yes. Give me Rob Rubick any day of the week. Any day of the week. Are you kidding me? That's the kind of stuff you need to get to glitz and need to talk like this, like you're some gosh damn cartoon character. It drives me out of my mind.
I don't disagree with it, but that's what they think people.
And yes, him too. I'm tired of that guy. I'll be the first guy to say it. Enough.
Who's that?
Benetti. Enough.
Oh. Well,
I'm sorry. I felt that way for a while. I'm not just saying this for your benefit. The comedy show, Laurel and Hardy every day. It's crazy. I'm tired of it. All right. I put you in a bad position. I apologize very adamantly for that. That was all Sean. Okay. That was all Sean. I can hit you over the head with this shovel because I'm from Livonia. That's right. I'll get them L's up, bitch. Then what? Just got real.
Another drop.
Sports Center has been brutal for a decade. Better year, Aidan Chiles or Bryce. Oh, Shep, that's a good. I'm going to let you handle that.
Here's the thing. I don't think Michigan will need Bryce Underwood to do as much as Michigan State will need Aidan Chiles to do. So,
yes,
I love both of their potentials. I expect Aidan Chiles to make a major step forward. I really do. What does that mean in wins? I can't answer that. I would guess somewhere in the neighborhood of 7. Okay. But I do believe Michigan State needs that kid to be successful. Michigan can get by early on with Bryce Underwood learning the speed of the game and learning that offense a little bit better than perhaps he knows it right now. Is that fair?
I think there's going to be a learning curve for Bryce. He's a true freshman. As much as I like the guy, Shep, I've seen him multiple times, and I really do. I will.
I know you do.
Anybody
you told
that
me last year, you told me. Yeah.
I really like the kid. You're still a true freshman.
There's got to be an adjustment period.
There's an adjustment period. There just is.
I'm sorry if there was an adjustment period needed for Arch Manning, who was just as highly touted coming out of high school. If there was an adjustment period needed for Joe Burrow and when he went to Ohio State and a lot of other high-level quarterbacks, I would think Bryce Underwood's going to need a little bit of an adjustment period. So,
yeah,
I think Aidan Chiles had that last year, and I think he's a guy who's going to learn from that. I think he's going to have a good season this year.
Alan said, hi, y'all. And Shep Braylon said amazing things about you during the Ally Challenge. He gave me an autograph plus picture.
He's a great dude. I'm telling you, man. He really is. And he cares about the people who works on the show, just like Sean does. But look, you and I are in there all the time. I think Woodward Sports has really done a nice job of increasing their commitment. Their social media is very good. Bringing Sean in the morning has been huge. Bringing Braylon in the afternoon and letting him, kind of have his own show and move forward with it has been really refreshing. And it's good content. It's not just slapdick content, no pun intended. It's really good content. So I'm glad they're making the moves that they've made so far. So
yeah,
let's hope it continues.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm having a blast there, and if you guys haven't checked us out, by all means, we'd love for you to check us out all day. As a matter of fact,
it gives you look. It doesn't have to be an all or nothing. Oh, you just got to watch us and not listen or watch anybody else. No, that's not it. What Sean and I are saying is, give it a shot once in a while. We do something on the show called Braylon's Breakdown, and it's as good as anything you're going to find on television or streaming or radio in this entire state. I can promise you that, because we go forward, we go back. He's got a clicker, and he's showing you the different things that a player should be looking at for a cornerback, a wide receiver. We do it once a week, and it's really good content. If you like sports and you like football especially, you're going to really like that segment. So I would strongly encourage you to check that out.
Thank you for the kind words, guys, as well. Tom said you guys are killing it on Woodward. Sean and Maz are great. Thank you. Are you shocked with the Lions cuts? We're going to get to that in just a second. Let me first tell you about my friends at the Wealth Advantage Group. They're located in historic downtown Northville, owned by those two handsome fellas right there. That's Mike Husak on the left, Jeff Husak on the right. They are guys that understand your financial goals are as unique as you are. That's why they offer personalized expert guidance to help you navigate the complexities of financial planning. Now, whether you're in a position like me, you're in a position like Shep, you're a younger person, you're an older person, doesn't matter. They understand that no two people are in the exact same spot, and they'll help you through every step of your financial journey, no matter where you are on the path. They work with clients throughout all stages of life. They have clients in over 20 different states. The investment world is a complex one. So if you're ready to start taking your finances more seriously, it's time to work with the experts. Reach out to my friends, I'm also a client, at the Wealth Advantage Group at 248-773-8574. Check out their website at www.thewealthadv.com. Shep, it is a wonderful problem the Lions have right now, that there are so many spots where you think to yourself, are they going to keep an extra D lineman? Are they going to keep an extra linebacker? Are they going to keep an extra wide receiver? It's like the Lions finally have real world problems. Like, as we talked about, there were no quote unquote starting jobs that were up for grabs. They knew what they had. That doesn't mean that a guy is still fighting and scratching and clawing to get a job, but this is how good franchises live.
Yeah, we're just not used to it. And it's a good problem to have. Somebody had asked in the chat, who is maybe the biggest surprise. I didn't think they were going to take 7 wide receivers. Jackson Meeks had a really good camp. Give him a ton of credit. 11 catches, over 170 yards. Didn't have any drops that I can recall. That was a tough room to break through, I think. I'm not surprised at Dan Skipper. They're going to take the best lineman, period. And just because he was a fan favorite and caught a touchdown pass doesn't mean that that's what's going to happen. And Hendon Hooker was not a surprise to me either. So I have not been surprised by any of the cuts just yet. Was rooting for Gunnar Oaks because he went to Eastern Michigan, but I knew damn well he was going to make that room. That's you're going to have more to come. My hope is that they're able to claim some decent players off someplace else. But when you have as much talent as this team has, and that's why I'm stunned at people saying I just don't see this team being as successful as it was a year ago. Well, it's pretty tough to surpass 15 wins. I still think they're going to be a really good team. I still think they're going to win the division. I still think they're going to be in contention for the NFC Championship. Their depth has been really impressive. They cut some good players. Guys are going to get picked up without question, right?
Yep. Shep, that's the way that I look at it. I hate to sound like a broken record. It's not very often that teams roll with back-to-back 15-win seasons. And so what I know is going to drive me nuts this year is you are going to have, and I have no other way to say this, you are going to have simpletons that are going to look at the overall record by the end of the year and go, oh, they won 15 games last year, and you guys are sitting here celebrating 11-6. Well, let's dig a little deeper. If they have that depth in place come playoff time, there's no telling where they can go. And quite frankly, yes, let's think about Santa Clara. Let's think about going to Santa Clara. Is anybody going to remember that they went 11-6 if they find themselves in the gosh darn Super Bowl? That's all that matters right now.
Right. Washington won 12 games a year ago when they reached the NFC Championship game. Okay. You don't have to go 15-2 during the regular season again to prove to everybody that you're a good team. They play a tougher schedule. They're going to have some adjustments with some young guys up front. They're going to wait for some young guys on the defensive line to come back as well. Health is always, something that we're going to have to pay attention to. Maybe I'm too much of a believer. I said this when the Tigers even were losing 12-13, Sean. Sometimes talent just wins out. All right. And I just think Detroit has more talent than anybody else in the division. And I think outside of perhaps Philadelphia, I like Tampa too, by the way. But I think outside of Philadelphia, I would say Detroit has the second most talent in the NFC as well. So there's plenty there from which to choose for the Lions. I think they're going to be just fine. I don't think Dan Campbell blows smoke. He feels as good about this camp as any camp he's been around since he's been in Detroit. And that's good enough for me right now.
Hey, All About Catering LLC, a full-service caterer, graduations, weddings, bridal showers. You're having a big football shindig, a fantasy draft, whatever you need catering for, from 25 to 4,000 people. All About Catering can and will take care of you. For Rick and his staff, customer service and satisfaction is their number one goal. So do not sweat your next big event. Just go to allaboutcateringllc.com today. Check out their menus and all their 5-star reviews, or give them a call, 586-731-1398. to get your event started. Shep, I won't go as far as to say that this is going to be like the Central Division of 2025. I do think that we're putting this NFC North maybe on a pedestal it doesn't belong. I don't think Minnesota's all that. I really don't think Green Bay's all that. I'm going to say it again. I think right now there's more questions about Jordan Love than I think anybody thought a year ago. I was terrified of the guy a year ago. Terrified of the guy. I remember what he did to us on Thanksgiving, and then what he did to Dallas in the playoff. And I haven't seen a whole heck of a lot of that guy. And I always say this, knowing the Packer fans that I know in the UP, they kind of feel the same way about him right now. Is they're like, okay, well, maybe he isn't the next.
I don't know if that's a good barometer. Those people didn't believe in Aaron Rodgers early on either. I think Jordan Love's a really good quarterback. I think Detroit still plays in the second best division in football.
Do you really?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure. Let me say this.
What would you consider to be the best division in football?
I think you have to look at, honestly, with the exception of the Giants, I think the NFC East is a pretty good division. I think
the AFC West is the best.
You could say that. I think Dallas is better than the record indicates. They were another team that got, now, they're not going to do anything come playoff time. They're not going to do it. Shep, they're pretty good though.
They've got a lot of offensive talent. There's no doubt about it. They also have an owner who doesn't know what the hell he's doing. They've got a quarterback who has a lot of question marks. They've added a wide receiver who is an absolute pain in the ass. The other one wants to be traded. Their best player overall wants to be traded. They haven't handled things well at all, and they look like a bad news Bears unit on the sidelines during preseason games. I can't buy that, not to mention the fact they've got a brand new coach.
I don't think for a second, much like the last 30 years, that's a viable NFL Super Bowl contender. Not for a second. But if I'm comparing the top three, if I'm comparing Philly, if I'm comparing Washington, and I'm comparing Dallas, I like their top three better than our division. I just do. And maybe I'm not giving the Vikings enough credit. And I'll go back to what I said about Jordan Love. What I mean with Jordan Love is Favre beget Rodgers, Rodgers beget Love. I'm not sold at all that Jordan Love is that guy. I'm not.
I get it. Are you sold that Dak Prescott is that guy?
No, not at all. Not at all. But again, if we're talking about regular season, not the what can you do in the playoffs? I don't think anybody expects it from Green Bay. I saw one guy, I think the guy from Yahoo said Green Bay. Minnesota it had a lot of things go their way for 14 wins. There's no mistake about that. Giants are a mess, and I still think that the Bears are a mess with he whose name I dare not mention. But if we're talking about good teams, trust me, I'll be the first guy to rip on Jerry Jones. But I think that's a pretty good team. It's
hard to argue with you. I mean, I think I looked at this the other day. Dak Prescott is 30 games over 500 in his career. And you prefaced this whole conversation by saying they're not going to do anything in the playoffs. So I'm not even counting the playoffs. I'm sticking up for you here. I believe he's 30 games over 500. You can correct me if I'm wrong there. Jordan Love, I believe, is 3 games over 500. I just think Green Bay I think they have a better coach. I think they have a more balanced team. I think Dallas finds a way to lose games rather than to win games. And maybe I'm a little poisoned by last year and some of the way they've handled their business, which quite honestly shouldn't matter as long as the guys perform. Okay. But I think Minnesota has one of the best coaches in football.
He's phenomenal.
And I think they've got obviously a lot of weapons, although Addison being out at the beginning doesn't help. And I think they're kind of underrated. I think a lot of it stems from the question around the quarterback, and I get that. But there were questions about Jaden Daniels last year, and look at what he did. There's questions about Dak Prescott. There were questions last year about Bo Nix. Look at what he did. I think Kevin O'Connell's in a better situation than Brian Schottenheimer would be to help his quarterback along rather than Brian Schottenheimer trying to help his offensive along. That I can only imagine the first day that CeeDee Lamb expects the ball, and George Pickens is the guy who says, "Wait a minute, I wanted the ball." And then there's a fight on the sidelines.
Long term, no question. But you're still talking about a first time. I mean, in essence, NFL rookie. And if I'm talking about this year with JJ McCarthy, and that's the way that I look at it, Shep. If we're talking about this year, long term, no doubt, and I have the same respect for KOC that you do, but you're still talking about, in essence, a rookie quarterback at the helm of that team, and I think
100%. You're right.
That's my concern for this long term. Absolutely, my gosh.
We said the same thing though, like I said about Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels and players like that. And before you go, well, JJ McCarthy's not that. JJ McCarthy was as good coming out of college as Bo Nix, for example, drafted higher than Bo Nix was. Both go to teams with coaches who are very good at developing quarterbacks. And if you don't believe that, all you got to do is look what Sam Darnold did last year under Kevin O'Connell. Look at what some of the backup quarterbacks did when Kevin O'Connell put them in a situation. I think he's going to have this kid in a situation. They've strengthened their offensive line, have him in a situation that leads him to have some success and puts him in less vulnerable situations.
I just, when I look at this division, like last year, you had 15-2, 14-3, and what were the Packers? 11-6, 10-7, whatever it was. Yeah. I don't see 3 records like that in any way.
No, I don't think so either.
I don't see that.
No, I agree with you. But I just like you and I were just talking about with the Lions, that doesn't mean that those teams can't be just as good as they were.
No. No, no, no. Hey, by the way, when it comes time to get yourself a house, you're buying, you're selling, oftentimes both, you need to contact the right agent. Who do we recommend? This lady right here, Lindsay Broadwell. Your house is probably the biggest investment you'll ever make, and that's why you need a pro. Lindsay grew up on the main streets of Northville and has expanded her team all over Southeast Michigan. She's an expert in all facets of the business, and when it's time to move, our friend Lindsay and her team will make sure you get the most out of your house, and everything goes smoothly when you're finding a new home. Buyer, seller, first-time buyer, doesn't matter. Make sure you contact Lindsay at BroadwellHomes.com. She'll help you with everything from start to close. Licensed realtor at Real Broker LLC. Start your search today at BroadwellHomes.com. Waiting to see if a kid that played college football up here makes it to the NFL. Tom, who are you talking about? In the London area? I don't know. I don't know who that'd be. If you can put his name in there, but I'll make sure to keep tabs on that.
Yeah.
You think any surprises are coming, Shep, with the 53? You think any surprises are coming?
No, but I am interested to see. And Dan Campbell's never done this going into week 1 in his tenure with the Lions, and that's keep 3 quarterbacks. I do wonder if there's a decent quarterback let loose, if Detroit will bring him in at least for a workout and see if it's a possibility.
He played at Laurier. All right, I'll look it up. I'll look it up and keep tabs on that. All right, Shep, anything else going on for you this weekend before we get out of here?
No, but I do want. I mean, with Tarik Skubal pitching tonight, my question to you is he in the MVP conversation?
Yes, but I think because of the astronomical year that Aaron Judge is having, I don't think
he's been bad lately. He's batting under 200 since the All-Star break.
Yeah, I was watching, and his numbers are they're just gross compared to everybody else. We were watching.
He's got a high WAR, no doubt.
Yeah,
I thought you were going to say Cal Raleigh. Cal Raleigh's got 49 bombs.
It's insane. And if they get into the playoffs, you're going to get some merit, no doubt.
Well, not only that, the 49 homers, as we all know, is a record for a catcher, primary catcher. He also has 9 multi-homer games, which ties Mickey Mantle for most by a switch hitter in a single season.
That's incredible.
Isn't that unbelievable?
It's incredible.
The record, but for multiple homers in a season is 11, but this is for a switch hitter. He's got to be in that conference. He's got over 106 RBIs.
He's got it. Yeah. He's got it.
When you're one of very select few, you're mentioned with Johnny Bench twice and Mike Piazza twice and Roy Campanella and guys like Ted Hundley, guys like that for 40 homers as a catcher, you've got to be in the conversation. I would guess. What's that?
The great Matt Noakes. Do you remember his rookie year? He's unbelievable that year.
Matt Noakes and Bruce Kim, they've got to be in the conversation. But I would guess those guys, I would think he would have the edge over Judge right now, wouldn't you, Raleigh? And then Skubal's, he's got to be in that mix, Sean. I think there's been 24 pitchers or 24 times in Major League history since 1931 when the MVP was first handed out. I think there's been 24 times where a pitcher has been named. Hal Newhouser won it twice, for example. Justin Verlander's won it. Denny McClain's won it. Willie Hernandez has won it. But I'm just saying, so some Tigers have won it, but multiple years, Hal Newhouser and a couple of other pitchers, but 24 pitchers. I think Tarik Skubal's a little bit closer than people give him credit for. Number 1 in WHIP, number 2 in ERA, number 2 in strikeouts going into a start tonight. I don't think the wins are as big a deal just as Zach Greinke. I think it's a possibility considering how Judge has faded.
Cal has, for what it's worth, and it just pulled it up. Wouldn't you know it? It just went away. I love when that happens. But for what it's worth, Cal's got a 9 home run advantage on Aaron Judge. For RBI, it is 106.92. Judge has a massive, his OPS is absurd at 1108, whereas Cal's at 945. And the WAR that you mentioned, 5.7 for Cal and 6.8 for Judge. I think when all is said and done, some of the metric people will pleasure themselves, not only over the fact that those numbers are in Judge's favor, but he's also in New York. Come on, Shep, you know they do. They do. They're a unique bunch, that metric bunch, because you know what? They're just smarter than all of us.
Well,
they are. Ask them.
Ask the baseball writers. They're smarter than you and I.
They're the smartest people in the world. They really. Will you be doing any Saturday night shows this college football season? Absolutely, Cornstalker. I'll be here every Saturday night. As long as I'm home, I know there's a couple road trips that I have to take. But, Shep, what I do, 11 o'clock at night, we're all at home watching college football. We come on and we talk about it. So that's just something fun that we did last year, and we'll do it again this year.
Well, Kristen's a lucky woman that you take her out as often as you do on Saturday.
Especially in the fall. What are you doing this week? Friday I got games. Saturday I got games. Now Saturday night I'm going on the internet to talk some college football with everybody, and then I'm gone all day Sunday for the Lions. Take care. What are you doing Tuesday night?
I got to get to bed early because I got to wake up in the morning to do a sports show.
Yeah, there's always Tuesday night specials at the local Bill Knapp's, right? Loser. All right, Shep, always a pleasure. Make sure you check out Shep and Braylon Edwards on Woodward. We'll see you in the morning. Bye-bye.
Shep and Sean, featuring Matt Shepard and Sean Baligian. Executive produced by Sean Baligian and Todd Losey. Theme song, incidental music, and related sound effects are from Still Alive by Anti-Ghost. Engineering, mixing, and graphic design support provided by the Unsyndicated Podcast team. Don't forget to like and subscribe on all your favorite channels. While you're there, be sure to rate and review the podcast. Call the Unsyndicated hotline at 248-237-3257.